If you have been watching my channel for any length of time, you probably know I get really nervous trying new things. And today I'm gonna take my first lift ride. I'm here in sunny SoCal. It's a beautiful day. It's about 10 in the morning. And why am I doing this? Why am I taking this step out? Because I get to go meet Natalie from Hey It's a Good Life. So very exciting, very worth learning how to use Lyft, and we'll see how it goes.
I started my first garden in the city. I was watching Joel Salatin and Jess and Justin Rhodes and all these amazing homesteaders, farmers, and I just thought I have to do something. I really see each step in the journey as just a stepping stone. So the apartment was the first stepping stone. Our current suburban situation is the second stepping stone. And then who knows, maybe we'll get a house with some land here sometime soon, and then we'll have more room for more food production and more animals and more people. I'm not a plant expert by any means, but it is really fun to just reconnect and see all these different spots. They've got a really cool setup. I know they have like a fuchsia garden, so I'm excited for that. And then they also have like they have a tropical garden with some turtles, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
I've already said hello to a cat, so I'm feeling very accomplished already, but I'm excited to see the rest of it. Yeah, check. Said hi to a cat.
Animal petting.
Yeah, check.
Pretty flowers. Check.
Check.
Good company. Check, check.
Yes.
How did that journey start, and where are you at in the journey now, and where do you see yourself going?
Essentially 6 years or so ago, I met an amazing couple who runs a youth ranch up north, and they told me that they heal troubled youth and horses by pairing rescued horses with troubled youth, and they go through this program together and everybody ends up better for it. And something in my brain just clicked, and I knew I was going to grad school for clinical psych. I knew I wanted to be a therapist and a counselor, and I just got this picture of me on a ranch having people come out to the ranch essentially for healing. And my motto since then has kind of just been heal land, animals, and people.
People are forever telling me that I need to change my name, that I can't be not a farm girl forever. Well, I just want to show you something. I looked over here and I said, look at these. I'm gonna call them artichoke flowers. I don't know what they are. They're so pretty. And Natalie looks over, she goes, "You mean the artichokes?" Yeah, so I've never seen artichoke growing. I thought this was a flower. No, it's actually, artichoke is a flower apparently. Didn't know. I've never seen one outside of a store or a restaurant. Not a farm girl. Still.
Okay, so heal land, animals, and people. What is that all about, and how does it fit together? For me, I love that idea of permaculture. Some people call it permaculture, some people call it farming God's way, but no matter how you look at it, there is a perfect cycle in nature where land, animals, and people work together. So if you followed anything on Joel Salatin, you can see that he runs his animals in a certain way to heal the land. Like his family bought land in Virginia that had huge crevices in it, huge dry spots, and by moving animals along it in a certain way, they actually healed their pasture and renewed their land. Well, you do that, you heal the land, you can get better crop. Well, then you have a better crop and you have better food with more nutrients in it, and then you're healing your people. And when your people feel good, they can better tend to the animals. And so it's this perfect cycle of like, we really can heal land, animals, and people. There is this cycle. And so learning to grow my food right now is really just one part of that. And I see it in terms of a triangle, kind of like we were talking about earlier. It's like, okay, over here I did my 10 years of schooling. I'm licensed as a counselor now. That's great. Okay, so now if we're working towards the healing homestead, which is up here, let's work on all the homestead skills. Let's work on being self-sufficient. Let's work on growing stuff, and then eventually those things will meet. Now, I always pictured that these two bottom things, like all things homesteading and all things psychology, would meet later down the road when we had like a land and a big house, or land and a big house. And animals, but I'm starting to wonder if they're not crossing sooner than that, if I'm not supposed to use my backyard as the place where we heal land animals and people. And anyway, it's not a perfect system just yet since we're growing in raised beds, but it, I think, is going to lend itself well to just inviting neighbors in. I have a heart to start a garden club in my neighborhood and invite people in and help them feel more equipped to grow their own food. So we're starting with where we're at with what we have and kind of just taking it from there.
Do you see any tie-in between mental health and food and land?
Yes, yeah, so that's a huge tie-in for me. Mental health is what I got my degree in. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what I feel called to. And so I constantly see metaphors between the garden and mental health. For example, even just being here on this video, all of us together, there's a sense of peace that comes from just being connected to nature, from slowing down and literally stopping to smell the fuchsia or smell the roses. And so I feel like every day God's kind of showing me something new about, okay, how do we get grounded in the garden? Or what can we learn about living seasonally or living in a way that honors the seasons? How can we eat seasonally? And all of those things get wrapped up into mental health, because when you're eating right, your mental health is so much better. So that's kind of how I see the connection.
Look at these. They're so pretty. Look at those guys. While you were talking about how you're starting where you are and that your eventual dream is to move to a homestead, I was thinking about how many people there are that do not have the dream of farming, that don't want to go out in the country or won't find it feasible because of their job, what they want to do for their career and so forth. And so I was thinking how great it is that you're starting in the apartment, you're starting in a backyard, and you're going to start that neighborhood gardening club, because these are skills that people can use where they are. And whereas I'm all about, my whole channel, we moved to Missouri I was in my mid-40s before we moved. And it was totally, we are uprooting our life, changing our careers, leaving where we're at and trying something new, which I think is great. If you have a dream, pursue it. But if that's not your dream, you can still eat better where you are. You can still grow your food. You can still find that peacefulness that comes in the garden. And I was mentioning a few minutes ago, and some of you who watch my channel regularly will remember that I tried to grow a big, huge garden, and I said, no, I need to scale it down, focus on family, and really make it a place that brings me peace and joy, because I think that is an important part of the process, like you're talking about. And so many people probably live in neighborhoods right around this place and have never visited it. So I think it's important to get this message out that there is something healing about being in nature and about having your hands or feet in the dirt. I think the Japanese even have a word for it. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And it's about the healing that happens when you walk through a forest. There's like I'll have to look it up later, and I'll put it somewhere here if I can find it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I think there is that portion, and so I'm excited to see what you do where you are, because then when people say to me, well, I live in the city or I only have a quarter acre, I can say, hey, go check out Natalie. Look at all that she's doing where she is.
Yeah, I did the math actually, and with the new garden, I could grow up to 182 kinds of vegetable fruiting plants.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you even eat 182 different kinds of vegetables? I know. I know. We eat probably about 10 in our house.
But yeah, with square foot gardening, which is a great beginner gardening method, which is great for small spaces, like you can grow quite a bit of food. So on our first garden, we had three 2x5 beds, and that was, I think, 30 crops in in 20 square feet or something like that.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. If you guys are watching this channel and you're like, oh, farm life, but you're dreaming of it and you want to start somewhere, I mean, you totally can start somewhere, even if it's just like what are those things, those like vegetable bags,
right,
like
they grow in a bag.
Yeah, like a grow bag, and you could throw some potatoes in there and just kind of mound up the dirt and
so my mom,
potatoes.
Who's obsessed with roots and refuge, aren't we all? She sent me a picture yesterday. She got she had little plastic lunch meat containers, and she put the lid down and she put starters on it, and she put the bottom over it in a windowsill.
Perfect.
So in her little cottage house, and where she doesn't feel like she can get out and garden as much anymore, she's starting something in her window. So you can do something.
something.
There's no excuse to not do something. And at the very minimum, find a farmer's market, find a local producer,
Yeah.
know where your food comes from.
Yeah, and not to be like a shameless promoter of a friend's app, but a long time, or like a year ago, I noticed this app came out called Crop Swap, and that's another great way to meet other people, because I didn't know how to meet people, and then I noticed this app came out where it's like, oh, if you're growing something, you can list it on there, you can sell it, you can share with people. I think it's buy, sell, or trade.
That
And
sounds
so,
really cool. I haven't, I don't have it. I'm gonna download it and I'll put a link to it in the description.
Yeah, it's a much easier way if you feel intimidated by that. Like I certainly have felt intimidated, or like it's hard to connect with local growers. There's a lot of people just like us growing
Sure.
stuff in their backyard who want to buy, sell, or trade with you. So
It smells so amazing. When is YouTube gonna get smell-o-vision? We totally need that for now. Not when I'm working, you know, in the chicken coop, but we definitely need it for the flowers. I don't even know what I'm smelling. Oh, maybe the fuchsia or freesia. No, freesia is the one that smells good. Fuchsia doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
yeah, something smells really good.
Something smells really good. Look at me on camera. I'm like a little puppy looking for a scent. I love how they've mixed ornamentals and edibles. What a great idea. You can walk along and pick a flower or have a snack. I was watching Natalie's video where she revealed her garden, and she has a chandelier with lights. She's got all her twinkling lights and her chairs, and it got me thinking about how much I want to make my garden a spot that is refreshing and peaceful and that I want to be in. Last year, the way I had it, it was really just a workplace, and that's not what I want out of it. So I'm really considering design into where my garden goes from here.
So Hey It's a Good Life was born out of a very difficult time in my life, and Hey It's a Good Life is really about choosing perspective, choosing joy, choosing to make the most of it where you are, choosing to make lemonade out of lemons. And so I knew I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I knew I wanted to do something about food. I knew I wanted to grow my own food, even if it was just on my apartment patio. I was honestly crying myself to sleep watching Joel Salatin, Justin Rhodes, Jess, and like all the big channels out there. I was like, I just want my farm. And I was like, girl, you can do better than this. This is not going to get you anywhere. So what can you do with where you're at? And I chose to say, hey, we can make it a good life right where we're at, even if we're in an apartment forever. How can I choose joy in this season? Because living any other way is just miserable. So.
Yes. And I'm a strong believer that life goes through seasons, and that we can choose to learn and grow in them, or we can choose to wallow. And I choose growth.
Yep, me too. I choose growth as well.
Blah, blah, blah. Outtakes? Outtakes much, anyone? Hello, I'm here. That was weird. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
We don't need no stinking. Hit you with it.